Hi, everyone. Welcome to DomainSherpa. Today is an episode of Down the Rabbit Hole with the Rabbit Hole Gang talking about NFTs. We've got the usual suspects on this one with Drew, Alan, Shane, Josh, and myself. We talk a lot about the current state of the NFT market, where we see the space going, what we look for in projects from an investment and a collector standpoint, and whether 1 ETH really does equal 1 ETH as the price of Ethereum rises. We also talk about the Rabbit Hole Gang Discord and how we'll be opening that up soon for more folks to join, so be on the lookout for that. All this is about to happen right now on Down the Rabbit Hole here on DomainSherpa, so let's jump in.
It don't matter what you say, there ain't no way that you messing with my team today. It don't matter what you do, I will not lose.
What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, aka JT, aka Jay On, and I am the host and producer of DomainSherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is Down the Rabbit Hole, right? So as we say here on DomainSherpa, all roads lead to domains. In the reverse, our work in domains has us venturing all the time into different areas, different topics, some very familiar to us like crypto and NFTs, digital assets, and then plenty of others that aren't so familiar, hence the jump down the rabbit hole. Today, we've got the Rabbit Hole Gang. When we got the Rabbit Hole Gang on the show, that means it's going to be an NFT show, and that's what we are going to talk about today. So we've got basically the usual suspects, and pretty excited because we haven't done a show in with this group in a hot minute. And so I'll do a quick intro, but by now, y'all pretty much know who everybody is and what everybody's deal is, but I will give everybody the benefit of the introduction. So I'm going to start over here to my right. We got my boy, Josh Reason, aka Harry Kane, aka Bjorn Borg. I reversed him up a little bit for you today. Just same shit, though. Looks like, making Billy do a little bit more work. And, like I said on the show we just recorded a couple days ago, man, you like legit look like those dudes, man. I think I feel pretty good about my work with that. So anyway, shout out to me for giving you good AKAs. Let's keep it moving. Welcome to the show.
I'm doing an amazing job.
I'm doing.
I'm gonna have some AKA. I'm gonna have some AKAs for you on the next show, JT.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah, man. I feel bad. I just realized you give all these AKAs, you don't get anything. No love,
man. No, none. You know what I mean? I barely keep my job. You know what I'm saying?
AKA Mr. Fucking Clean.
Yeah, right, Mr. Clean. Who's the Michael Chiklis, the dude from The Shield? Anyway, all right. Well, let's
Dana
keep it
White.
Let's keep it. Yeah, Dana. Oh, that's good. I like Dana White. That's good. All right. So down to my lower right, we got my boy Sugar Shane Culture, aka HoneyShane, aka Mike Rowe. B House. He's got some really cool NFT stuff going on. I mean, he did the B House White Honey launch with Colonel Whitenfur. If you haven't checked that out, those NFTs are on OpenSea. Make an offer. I've got one. I'm not even gonna put a price on it because to me it's almost,
that's also the white list. It's not just white honey, but it gets you on the white list for the next round.
All right, I like
it. That's my only NFT that's not for sale.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Wait,
I have the box. I got the honey's in the box right there. I should actually maybe we go to commercial. I'll come back.
I do see the white box in the corner of this.
Yeah, it's there. I'm gonna take it out. That's what I'll do for the next show. I'll take it out of the box and put it on the
Oh, you can't see it.
Yeah. That's what happens with that background. So
yeah.
Anyway, all right. So obviously a lot of cool stuff the chain's into. We talk about that a lot, but B House and the new NFT to me is the coolest thing. I mean, obviously everything else you got going on is cool, but DSAD, check out the daily list, and not to short sell Josh, go to DNWE, domain name marketplace, sign up if you're not signed up, get yourself a domain, sell a domain, one of the best out there for doing that. Check it out. All right, cool. Let me continue around the room. Down to my lower left, we got my boy Alan Dunn, aka Gandalf Gates. He's the man, the myth. You know what I'm saying? Redheaded crypto punk, which we were talking about on a separate call yesterday about how, the fact that you were able to get that punk that's like with the glasses and that's nice work, man. That is a really, really cool. I mean, obviously a crypto punk's a flex in general, but to be able to get one that like actually looks like you is pretty sick. So
what do you think that goes for now? What's a red hair crypto? What would you say that value is now?
Punks are one of those crazy things that I think they're around 100 ETH or something, but I don't look at the floor because I'll never sell it.
Yeah.
Right.
Off the
It's
market
really-
forever, baby. Off
Okay,
the
so what
market
would your
for-
son
Off the
sell it
market
for when he
forever.
gets it?
My son would sell it for about like 1,000 Fortnite points. So he's never.
Yeah.
That's who I'm talking to. I'm smart enough to talk to the children.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
talk to them. You'll get a much better deal.
Oh yeah, yeah. My kids, they'll anything that's not tied down. You know what I mean? If it can get
Yeah.
them a Lambo, they're in. They're ready
Yeah,
to go.
my ape would go for like a cheeseburger probably.
No, my kids would sell. They get it. My boys get it. They'd get value, but they would absolutely but they would look to take the value and then go turn it.
Yeah.
You could buy a Lambo. Like literally, like I got my 9-year-old showing me links on Google. Like you could sell your ape today and get this Lambo. Do it, Dad. Do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not going to be impulsive. I'm not going to have
Yeah.
problems with you later on. But,
Insurance on an 8-year-old driving a Lambo's got to be nothing.
it's pretty high.
You should,
But-
you should have that. You should have your kid talk to Shane's accountant and explain it to him. When
Yeah.
he sells that, he's not getting
Yeah.
a Lambo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Taxes will get you a 2003 Lambo.
I know if you're lucky, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, well, we're not going to turn this into a tax show.
No, let's not make it negative. Let's go to Drew here.
Well, yeah. And I
Damn,
think
I'm trying to be happy today, guys. Please.
I won't. I
no,
promise.
look,
Josh
it's a
tells me
beautiful
he-
day. I don't know where
Crazy about
everybody's, I mean, I know where all you guys are posted up, but for the audience, I don't know wherever you're listening in or watching the show today, but it is a beautiful day here in sunny Florida, and it's Friday and you ain't got shit to do. So we're going to get you high today.
I ain't got shit to do.
We're going to get you high today. Although this show won't air on a Friday, but it's being recorded on a Friday. All right. And then last but certainly not least, we got my boy all the way to my left. We got my man, Andrew Rosner, AKA Morpheus, AKA John Gall, AKA
The Dirt Diggler.
the Dirk Diggler. Hey.
Just can't help yourself. Just
Oh,
can't help
man.
yourself.
Hacking
So-
and stacking.
That's it all day. All stacking sats. Bitcoin is up. Solana's flying today. So, I timed a little bit of my Bitcoin into my Solana, although every time I make moves, it's like Taxman's just like, it's like that picture. It's that GIF of Jack Nicholson, where he's doing that big old smile and he's like, yeah, like every time I move shit from one thing to another, the tax man has just got that big old smile. He's like, hell yeah.
Dude, with all the bridging between all the different layers of Ethereum and all the different wallets, my shit's like unreadable at this point. It's like,
That's it. Just create enough noise that it's like, I don't got to pay. I don't have to pay you.
I
'cause
don't
can't
even know
figure
how
it out.
to turn in my yield farming shit. Like I'm literally on like
yield
third party app just putting reinvest and I'm pressing buttons.
dude,
Yeah,
tell
I
me, tell me how you're tracking stuff on like Matic. Like seriously, it's on like another layer of Ethereum. You
I was
can't see
trying to
any of those
explain to someone,
transactions.
like the faucet.
So
and
we
the
should
bridge.
edit this. I'll edit this out for the
I
cover.
know.
No.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
yo, I'm
JT?
I'm above board, man. My
Hey,
shit,
if you
like-
don't know what a faucet is in Matic, you're not doing your shit deep enough yet. That's the thing. You haven't sold a Polygon
you gotta
added
get
value
at the
NFT.
faucet. You gotta like give me. I just a drip. I just need a drip.
I just
son.
need a drip. Like that's what I'm going. Like, does anybody have a fucking faucet that I can drip from? I just need a taste of 0.01 Matic coins so I can get rid of my orange bucket cool cat gift. that
I
got.
can send you Matic. I got it.
No, I finally figured it out, but I couldn't even figure out where to send it. Like, it was just
Oh, well, I had a situation, but here's the thing. This is why Ether is so frustrating because I wanted to move some shit like, from I had some USDC, I had some WETH, I had some or WETH, I guess is, I had some other random shit I was just trying to turn into ETH. And like I didn't have enough ETH in my wallet. So then I was like, and
but
then
the gas fees is higher than what you've got.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, this
$2 in ETH and it's 198 to transfer it over. So I lost $40.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But meanwhile, like I needed to do something on Sol. Yoni sent me like 0.1 Sol, and he's like, "You'll be good for like 3 months on this shit." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's like, "You'll be able to, do whatever you want. You're good. You'll be covered now."
Matic's the same way. It's like
Oh no, I know Matic is. Yeah.
0.01
That's
to
what I
make
mean.
a-
That's yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, and it's like we're taking the toll bridge that costs $4,000 and underneath it's a road that goes to the same place. But I'm going to take the toll bridge because it's much cooler.
Well,
Well, but hold on. It's not,
It's
the
also
road doesn't
pretty-
go to the same place, right?
That's right.
That's the difference. It's like it's like being in, Ohio versus New York, right? And so don't get me wrong, I'm a huge lover and believer of the whole Solana ecosystem. And I'm super bullish on where Solana is going. But if we're talking about like all of the things, happening within that ecosystem, not the rails themselves, which I would say Solana has the best rails in the biz, but the ecosystem, you can't compare it, right? It's like, you know, ETH, the Ethereum ecosystem is Manhattan, and, you know, right now Solana is Chicago, you know, it's like you know, Ohio.
not smart
at the
enough
best.
to
That's one of
talk
my, that's
about
one of my
that.
things about Solana, Drew. What do you, because Solana, like for me, I feel that Matic is your second layer on, and there will be other second layers that I'm sure get built
You
upon
can't
the Ethereum.
compare an L1 to an L2.
Well,
You just can't.
whoa, but the L2 is comparable to something like Solana. Like the L2 is Solana. It's just not, like, you know, Solana's just not on Ethereum,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right?
My
It's
thing
the
is,
same.
what's the
Like,
utility? Can the utility be the same? Can you write a chain contract in Solana that performs just as well and is much easier to trade than Ethereum?
Oh yeah.
That's the whole
Even more.
point. It's just the,
Even
you know,
more,
the issue.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think to Drew's sort of metaphor, it's like, right, like there are both roads, but you currently have the Ethereum roads that, as bumpy and the toll roads as they are, take you to places that you want to go currently, which is like Bored Apes and all the other, you know, NFTs that are currently Ethereum, right? And then you've got the Solana stuff, which they're starting to do shit, but it's almost like that's a bunch of roads that are out in Iowa, you know, that's just starting to go to places that are starting to be built. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, so that's really the difference. I mean, but when you look at from a technology standpoint, I don't want to really divert too much into that on this show. I mean, we can obviously talk about it if y'all really want to, but you know, yeah, I mean, Sol is cheaper, it's more efficient. It's,
But
you
the
know,
gas fee, I mean, just in general, if you were to talk to somebody, what do you hate the most about NFTs? Gas fees. I mean,
yeah, for
I
sure.
was doing, Josh, you owe me like $300, Josh, because you put something up that I needed to mint, like a creature toad or something, right? Was that you?
yeah. I don't know. I bought Creature Toads. Yeah.
Well, I bought it and I got three failed contracts in a row at $118, $120. So
Oh, fuck,
$360.
man.
Like, again,
Yeah, the
I
thing about
got
gas
cheap
is nuts to me.
coupons.
I don't mind paying extra in gas if you really want something, right? But the fact that you could still pay gas and not get the shit is such a kick in the dick that it's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that shit to me is just so fucked up. You know,
no,
like,
I think the gas fees actually help the market a lot. Like
well, all right.
not in terms of how much they are,
I got to hear this
but-
one.
no,
Hold
but
on, hold on.
the
Get your
fact
popcorn
that
ready.
the fact that a consumer is having to pay gas makes the marketplace not open to like all this free stuff that you're seeing on Matic and all the spam you see on Solana and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It is kind
That's
of
a
like
fair
a toll.
point. That's a good, really
It's
good
kind
point.
of it's kind of a good.
It's a
toll.
filter.
It's a
Yeah,
filter.
it's a filter.
For higher quality. Now the failed transactions, yeah, they totally suck. I mean, but that's part of the game.
No, I get it. And that's the whole thing, gas wars and all that. And it's part of understanding. And if you haven't been involved in any, and if you haven't had to pay gas on something you didn't win, then, you know, then you haven't been in the space that long or haven't done that much. Right. So like, but it's definitely turned me off from a lot of like trying to mint new stuff. And, you know, I do appreciate what some projects have done. You know, Sneaky Vampire Syndicate, for example, they did their bot proof contract that did where you had to go in early and, you know, you submit your number, your information. Actually, it was like you had to answer just a random question. And then if you got in, you know what I mean? And it was like, you know, basically like a bot proof deal so that everybody at least had an equal sort of opportunity. And then I believe you had a big enough window too, where if you were successful to be able to mint, you didn't have to pay crazy gas fees. So, you know, I think that I appreciate the devs and the project owners that are doing things, the founders, if you will, that are doing things to try to alleviate some of that stuff. And look, here's the thing.
It's changing. Like everything's changing completely. I mean, we're like from where we are now compared to where we were 3 or 4 months ago, the way that people are releasing projects is evolving greatly. It's completely different. I mean, you're looking now, if you start a project and you have less than, you know, 70% unique holders, it's rare. I mean, because you can typically you're only allowed to mint one or two because everyone goes through the whitelist.
Give it away,
yeah.
Well, unless you don't put the work in on the smart contract, and guys like Hassan come in and mint, you know, 300 when they're only supposed to mint one. People are still, you know, there's developers.
I think it's a good point. I mean, well, so, you know, gas is a problem to be overcome, right? And I think it's unique, or not unique, but I think it's interesting and cool to see the way that people are going about novel ways to try to get over that. And I think that creates kind of its own cool sort of thing because now, you know, people are solving for the problem, but it still sucks when you get stuck in it, right? And you have to pay it and, you know, all that stuff. But anyway, so all good, all good. So right now we're kind of in this bit of a bear market, but what do you guys feel like? So how's everybody feeling in general? What is the state of the union? You know, what's the pulse of everybody right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling like I would really like Ethereum and Bitcoin to just slow the fuck down for a second. That's how I'm feeling, and just recoil a little bit. But no, I think that the market's just evolving. It's like I said, I think people are going to change. You know, it's not going to be the way that we've seen it forever. We've already seen that it's harder to make money today than it was, 2 or 3 months ago. You got to be more selective. So,
I mean, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? And so, let's say since April, you could just spray and pray, and it was hard. Your probability of success was much higher than your probability of failure, right?
Yeah.
If you just sprayed and prayed, you just bought into 50 projects, at least 20, 30 of them were going to be a winner, right? And winner meaning, you probably 10x or 100x. And you might have had one that did a 5,000x, right? And so now we're in, the tide's going out, and we're going to see who's wearing clothes. And I think there's going to be a very small handful of blue chip projects that the founders stay with it, continue to add value, or the community is so strong that they're just like, look, fuck, we're not selling. And, they're adding value by utilizing these things in different ways, commercializing them and adding utility. And those projects, regardless of price fluctuations, which are normal, particularly in a developing market, they'll have staying power, and, they'll break through into the mainstream over time and, continue to grow. I think, I think we've just entered a new phase of the market. But I'm actually
apes are back above 30. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Hey, the bear market's over. Let's go.
Party.
But I think you can't. Look, the whole crypto world, has unfortunately pushed people with a very short attention span to have a even shorter attention span. And so it's like, oh my God, market's not going up forever. We're in a bear market. And it's like, well, if the floor on the shittiest ape is 30, look, that ain't bad. This shit came out in May?
You know what's crazy? Do you know what's crazy? It's an amazing buying opportunity right now because the floor is 30 and there's
30, but ETH is also twice what it was when this shit launched.
But here's the thing: when the floor was at 40, ETH was at 3,000. So
yeah.
Well, actually, when this shit launched, ETH was high.
When it launched,
right around May. ETH was,
10.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
It was like 30.
But it was
like
like
$3,500.
No,
it was like 3,500.
Yeah. We're still $1,000 higher. We're still $1,000.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, ETH was at 3,000 and the floor was at 40. Now it's at 4,000 and the ETH is at 30.
Yeah,
that looks similar to me.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that stuff. When I put in 30 ETH, all I'm thinking about is my 30 ETH. I want my 30 ETH to be more ETH.
If you're coming from the outside world and you're buying 30 ETH, and you come from the outside world 2 weeks ago and buy 40 ETH, it sounds like the bank account's putting the same amount of money into it. So yeah, from your world, because you're in ETH, but there's a lot of people coming from the outside world that are coming to get into NFTs.
You think a lot of people are buying apes with US dollars?
Absolutely, people.
I know as a fact that there's a large contingent of people who have never invested into crypto, and that their gateway into the crypto universe is NFTs. And so, yes, I'm absolutely, look, JT and I are involved in a project with a serious heavy hitter, and this dude had no ETH, and it just is what it is. It's like the dude was like, I need to ape in now. But I don't have ETH. I don't even know how to buy ETH
from you. Yeah, they'll ask you to buy ETH for cash on the side because they don't want to wait 6 days to go into Gemini or Coinbase and wait for it to float.
And
I'd say these guys
just
are
gotta-
in
this is a good- this is a good-
minority though. Very
This
much.
is
We're
an
all in the
interesting
minority,
topic
though.
because you see people, tweeting, 1 ETH equals 1 ETH, right? You see that a lot when the price is going
That's
up.
right, JT.
No, I'd
Never
say
forget.
1 ETH equals 1 ETH. Maybe that'll be the title of the show. But one rabbit equals one rabbit. But I think but I don't know, man. I have a hard time. I'm more of the mindset that I still do all my other non-metaverse stuff in dollars, right? So when I'm looking at like what my tax bill is going to be, when I'm looking at what my mortgage payment is, when I'm looking at all that kind of stuff, it's dollars, right? So to me, I think it's hard to just be that much of a ETH or a crypto maxi to really believe that the change in the price
honor
of
the price
coin
of your
doesn't-
item for 2 years in ETH, then I'm good with you believing in ETH as an ETH. So if
Yeah.
you tell me that physical item is 3 ETH, if it goes down to a third and you still honor it, then I'm cool with it. But if you're changing your ETH price based on dollars, I don't believe you for a second.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
if you want to
I don't
honor
think
an
many
ETH for an
people are doing
ETH,
that.
then make it an ETH and make it 2 ETH, and you stick to that price no matter what. But I guarantee you're not going to stick to that price because the dollar is going to change. So that's how I know when people aren't believing their own statement is when
I think it depends how much it changes. I mean, if ETH goes to 10K
Yeah.
tomorrow, then maybe I'm like switching
Maybe?
a little bit.
No, but I think that's a great point. I think that is a key point is that I think everyone has a sort of a threshold where you can only stay sort of married to that idea of 1 ETH equals 1 ETH for so long. And then if it doubles, triples in value, like, unless you are like
Yeah, but
somebody
I'm
who's
still
completely given up on
pissed at
fiat
that point.
completely,
I'm still pissed at that point. No
You're
matter
just
what,
mad all
I'm
the
pissed about
time
that
anyway.
point because I'm buying NFTs, not looking, and I'm hoping that my Ethereum is not outperforming my NFT purchases.
No,
that's a fucking loss. I'm losing.
And well, it's
I-
hard.
Listen,
I
listen,
changed my- I
guys.
changed my
Welcome to
prices.
investing, right? I mean,
No, I know.
they're like, okay, I don't own a lot of equities these days. I don't really want to have a lot of equity exposure, but there's a few places I want, right? Like I want to own a lot of fucking MicroStrategy. I got a lot of equity in MicroStrategy. I got long call options on MicroStrategy. I got call options on my call options.
I think that's still
but-
Bitcoin, my friend.
Yeah.
One Bitcoin
and then I
equals
got-
one
and then I got
MSTR.
equity, right? I got shares in oil, right? I want to own some Exxon Mobil. I want to own, whatever. But the point is that like, okay, so, gold goes up, MicroStrategy goes down, right? Oil goes, up, MicroStrategy goes down. MicroStrategy goes up, oil goes down. I mean, this is how you balance a portfolio. This is what diversification is about. If you're freaking out because you've got a bunch of NFTs, ETH is running, prices of NFTs aren't keeping up with the ETH, then you're just misallocated. You need to have more allocation to the underlying ETH. You just can't hate on that shit
right now. You're getting the dad
Well,
talk about investing.
I mean, I think it's something a lot of people just have to be aware of. It's like, this is all part of a strategy. It's got to, if you're not looking at your investments holistically, then you're doing it wrong. You got to look at everything holistically. And it's like, and I heard a quote once that has resonated with me and stuck with me. And I repeat it to myself all the time. If you look at your portfolio and you don't have at least one thing which is in a loss, you're not doing it right, because everything shouldn't be going up at the same time, right? If it does, you got a problem, because when it turns around, everything you own is going down. But that thing that's, in a loss, it's a balancing, it's a balance.
Yeah,
it's like when everything else turns around, when everything else turns around, that one's going up. And you got to understand correlations. I've been preaching about this shit since June. Like, if you think that when ETH is 10 grand, that, the floor on BAYC is still going to be 30, you're tripping. Like, I don't give a fuck. I got millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's going to be 40. That's right. It's going to be 50.
Yeah.
But, and I think that we'll get there. I think that we will have a case where it'll be $10,000 ETH and, BAYC floor higher than it is today. I think that we will get there. When these guys launch a token, when these guys launch a DAO, when these guys have, the collaborations that I think are in the pipeline, it's like, look, for sure we're going up, but nothing goes up in a straight line, and nothing goes up forever. Things have correct. That's healthy, right? You got what we want, right? Is same as in Bitcoin, right? I like bear markets more than I like bull markets. I get nervous in bull markets. It makes me anxious. I get nervous in a bull market in the NFTs too. It's like I'm anxious, and
True.
I got to make decisions. I just want to buy the things I want to own forever and just ride them. You know what I mean? And like, I like bear markets because it's like that's opportunity. That's where you make the money. You don't make the money in a bull market. You make the money in a bear market. And you want a bear market to flush out the weak hands, because the only way a market goes up from where it was previously is when you flush out the weak hands and you put more of that asset into the strong hands that are never going to sell. And then suddenly, okay, tide turns, we start going up. Well, there's less supply. And if you got less supply than you had the last time and you got upward momentum, market goes up. And so this is all healthy shit, but if you're freaking out, you just don't have enough ETH. You got to you're over allocated.
Dude, can we extract, apart from that last bit about not having enough ETH, can we extract that little statement and just put it and like pin it to your Twitter page, to the rabbit hole Twitter page? The not enough ETH part is just a fuck you, but the rest of it was pretty cool.
I talk about that all the
I
time.
really enjoy that.
Volatility is how traders make money.
Yeah.
If everything
No,
goes up
absolutely
or
right.
everything
And
goes
I
down,
think-
you don't make money. Volatility is what we want. That's how we make a living.
Well, and I think,
Yep.
look, and this isn't just Drew giving kind of, this is him reacting to Josh's comment, but I think a lot of people share, like for me, I'm a reactive investor more than I want to be, right? And some of it is because I'll get bored or, I'll chase the shiny object. I get hype on some shit, and NFTs make it even harder because it's not just like I had my crypto portfolio like set up, like I had the right mix of Bitcoin, Ether, and Solana. And then it was like, oh, I want to buy a new 8. You know what I mean? And then it was like, I have to have this 8. So I'm going to go do that. And it's like, once those kinds of things, and the NFT, to me, the NFTs bring in a, much more of a sort of a, call it the shiny object syndrome, because there's so much going on and there's so much cool shit, so much new shit. And, and I think people in general, though, in the NFT space, I'm kind of shocked when you see people who buy something and then it doesn't go up like next day, and then they're immediately like freaking out. And I think some of that is because you have younger people like, millennials and, inexperienced investors and things like that are all, I mean, the NFT space is kind of, as much as the crypto space brought a lot of young folks, into the space, the NFT space is doing that even more. And,
Sure.
and it really shows you kind of like, and everyone has that, everyone's in the same echo chambers and Twitter and everything else. So you see all of this like commentary, and it's interesting, and the dynamics, the social dynamics, as well as the psychology behind a lot of this, I think is interesting. With that, real quick, we're going to take a quick break. Wait. Oh, go ahead, Josh. Go. I'll let you
No,
go.
it's good. It's good for after the break. It's good.
Oh, good. Perfect. We're going to hear what Josh has to say after the break. We're going to go real quick to a commercial. Quick shout out, to NameJet, Dan.com, two of our big sponsors here on Domain Sherpa. And when we come back, we will end media options, because that's the commercial. You're about to get the gold. You're about to the get money commercial. It's coming. And then we'll be right back here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Rabbit hole gang, down the rabbit hole. We'll be right back.
Get money. Get money.
Media Options is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, Media Options offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. Media Options believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Domain Sherpa down the rabbit hole with the rabbit hole gang. Rabbit hole gang, make the joint go bang. What's happening? All right. We were just having a really spirited conversation talking about 1 ETH equals 1 ETH. Got into a little bit of just sort of the dynamics around investing and some of the stuff that we can find interesting around NFTs and crypto with respect to that stuff. A balanced portfolio, diversify my bonds. And Josh, you said you had something like you had a good point, man. You were ready to come back after.
No, I was just, I want to talk a little bit about new people coming into the space and how they can be successful in NFTs, because that's obviously why most people tune into this kind of thing. They're trying to get alpha, right? They're trying to figure out how to make money.
Let me get my notebook. Hold on. Let me get my notebook. Let's find out.
But so one of the things that I'm interested in right now, because my brother-in-law just started in NFTs. The guy never bought any crypto, like you guys said. He just saw what happened with me and my apes, and he's like, this is, too much for me to sit out,
Yeah.
But what he's been doing is just grinding on the Discords, just trying to get whitelisted in projects. And so he, got whitelisted for Metasaurs, and then he spent the last week grinding, trying to get whitelisted for Boonji project. And that seems to be the play right now for like new people coming in. It's like grind in the Discord, get whitelisted,
I think
get your mint.
Yeah.
Get your mint without having paid gas fees, and then sell that shit pre-reveal.
Yeah, well, especially so. Let's talk about MechaVerse real quick. I almost called it Mechasaurs, but because I really like. I know it is kind of like a funny ass combo.
I could go on a right rant.
No disrespect though to Merlin, man. Dr. DMT, what up, man? So all good, but for MechaVerse, I really like some of the art and some of the cool shit we were seeing ahead of time. I thought the Pacific Rim Gundam, like all that kind of shit, I thought was pretty cool. But then everything that's happened since then, and this shows you, like, I hadn't done a ton of research, but I was like, but aesthetically, I thought, oh, this is going to be a cool project. I saw a lot of momentum building with it, and I was like, I know I'm not even going to get anywhere close to the mint, this and that and the other thing. So. But since that shit dropped, that shit has been a mess, right? So, and I didn't win the raffle. The raffle itself was a mess, and everybody was like, that was. But I and then it goes up to 8 ETH. But I think to Josh's point, if you really can get in early on some of these mints, right? If you had gotten in even as a newcomer and gotten your mecha, I'm almost kind of call it Mechasaurs again. You get your Mechasaur, and you go ahead and throw it up pre-reveal, and people are paying 7. I just don't know who were the people paying 7 and 8 ETH for a MechaVerse pre-reveal. You know what I mean? Because
they're moving.
I don't know. Honestly, dude, I don't know, because I don't know anyone like an OG in the space that was like, oh, I'm buying MechaVerse. I didn't know one person in the space who was like, yeah, I'm buying MechaVerse. Jack
and I were like, messaging a little bit. I know he was kind of feeling it, and I was telling him like, yo, I'm in. I just, I know I'm not going to get in, and I had
a better chance of buying the patio heater meme one.
Yo, tell me that wasn't some fucking funny shit, man. I love that, where it was like where the Dyson vacuum flipped upside down. It's like, hey,
this close to getting in on that.
Well, and then the thing is about those, like, then when they actually revealed and you realize like, oh man, there's like no difference, there's no real like thought that's gone into this. It's like, it shows you that you really got to be careful, because the propping up, and then I see projects that could have been just as valuable as the MechaVerse, and including Metasaurs. Like, I thought, Merlin did a good job, launching that and really managing the Discord and the community. And like, there was a lot of really cool stuff there, but how is that any different? Right. And not meaning like, how did MechaVerse get that hype is what I'm, is it because I talked about it on the show? Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, but where did it come from? And who are the people buying? Cause I think anyone who knows, like, who's pays attention and is kind of, could see that coming a mile away, that it was like, yo, once those ramped up to such crazy prices pre-reveal, that was not going to hold. Even if the art was dope, even if everything really came together, because then there was some other stuff where like the founders were like, kind of bitching about the artists. And there was like a lot of like, so the juju got kind of twisted there. I didn't, with that project. And, I guess that's my question. How's it?
I'm going to say some shit that won't be popular, but like, first off, if you're buying into a project just because you think the art's cool, like, you're probably going to lose your money. And like,
probably, you're almost definitely.
The art is 1%. The art is like the lowest common denominator, and what I mean by that is like, it has to be cool enough to like open the door. But it's about the community, it's about the utility, it's about the pipeline, it's about the founders. It's just like it's like investing into a startup. Like there's a picture, somebody tells you the story, and the story is, if there's not a good story, we're not going to have, that's where the conversation's over. But, the story gets me in the door, and it's like, all right, so what's behind the story? Where are we going? Are we going to the moon? Are we going somewhere nobody's gone before? Because if we're not going somewhere that nobody's gone before, I don't need to be in this fucking room. Get out of here. And that's kind of how I feel about the entire NFT space is if you're not going to go plant a flag where nobody's been before, get the fuck out of here because you're just wasting my time. And I'm not going to waste my ETH on your ass. So,
yeah, go ahead.
No, go
yeah,
ahead,
I
you,
just
Alan.
think
Alan,
like, I think,
Drew's talked a lot.
All right.
You can say some shit. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna exactly what Drew is saying. 90% of these projects they have this great fucking spaceship, but you walk in and there's no seats, there's no engine, there's nothing, and you're not going to go to the moon. And Drew's exactly right. I mean, it is an unpopular opinion, I'll tell you that, but that the art is not
Totally.
That's fair. I guess, but I look at it like if
it is, I mean, there's so many projects.
But I'm still in the same boat I've always been. If I buy something for $300 to $500 early that I think is cool and that is a piece of art that's somewhat popular, not some obscure thing, I'm not going to lose because I spent $300 to $500 on a piece of art, and half the time other people are going to agree with me. None of that shit that you guys are talking about are art. The people that say, oh, this is badass, it's a fucking Lego piece. Like there's nothing badass about that. It's not art. Nobody put time into that at all. They mass produced it by dragging and dropping layers on Photoshop. That's not art.
but Andrew's not speaking just to MechaVerse. He's speaking.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying people like, and again, I fought with him, but somebody like Show Deer, where it's a badass poster, or John Overton. I think Overton's his name, the Native American guy.
Oh, yeah. Those are really, really dope. Those are really super cool.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I paid 0.32 ETH for a badass print, and I think it can still go up in value. But no matter what, I'm good. You can only do that so long. But if you're new, I think starting with something that's popular but not too expensive that you really like, that's a really good start. Now, if you want to fucking get into this game where you're minting, that's money. But if you only have $1,000, buy 3 prints that you really like, and if you don't make any money, then you're fine and you got some good stuff. So I feel like there is some things you can do.
Well, yeah, and I think maybe let's talk. There's a difference.
You need to like enable the social flex, right? If your product doesn't enable a social flex of some kind, then it's so difficult. It's almost impossible to gain any traction because like most people that are buying at the high end, they want to flex whatever they're buying.
Yeah.
And I think you make a good point there. If you're making the point that. There's a difference between PFP projects and the actual art pieces that you're buying, and because there is a difference. I think if the art is cool in the PFPs, I think that adds to the value. But I would agree with both Drew and Alan that there's got to be more there, which includes the roadmap, the utility, the team,
and that's where
the community.
Epinems are really unique in the fact that you have some artistic entities behind there. You have AI, you have this burn function.
Oh, those are dope.
Game.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
What is this? What is this?
What? You don't know
what is this?
Is it Epinem? Is that how you pronounce it? What do you call them?
Oh yeah, no, I love this. The AI art.
Yeah, but how do you say it though? Epinem.
How do we lose Alan?
Epinem. All I can say about that is that
apparently I can't use.
Not gonna make it.
Well, but the problem is with Epinems is every single person I talk to is like, yeah, those are so cool. These are like one of the coolest NFT projects that have come out, but they're gonna struggle. Yeah. Like, what does that tell? What does that tell you?
Who thinks they're gonna struggle? You or the people?
No, I know they're gonna struggle. But
what struggle mean?
But
like what? Because they're already selling for like.
We're all in this struggle. We're all in this struggle.
The floor gets purchased because you got to buy 2 shit pieces to burn to get one.
Yeah. So that
I can't get anything under 0.4. Like every time it gets to 0.4, someone buys it up to burn later. That's the game part of it. It's so brilliant.
Yeah.
Is to put that out there.
People have to love the art in those kind of projects. They have to love the art in those kind of projects.
I think the art in those projects are crazy. I love those, man. They're super
let me expand on what Josh is saying too, and Andrew, is that I think you're right. You have to love the art, you have to look at the mechanics of it. But at the end of the day, and this is not a question or an answer any of us really answer for specific people, but you have to be fucking honest with yourself. Like, are you in this to make money? Are you in this because you like the community? Are you in this for the art? And don't get mad when one of them doesn't work out. Like, you have to realize, like, why did you buy that art? Like, you love it. Great. But if you bought it with, 90% expectation you're going to make money and it doesn't make money, then it's your fault, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to be honest with yourself while you're here. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I do
100%.
think the people that are trying to get into NFTs because they just want to figure it out, try to make a little bit of money. I do think that, Josh, that is really good alpha right there. That the idea that if you do grind in the discords and you're grinding on trying to get into the mints, and because there almost every project that mints at 0.07 or whatever, almost all of them go up. And although one that hasn't is Dark Horizons, which I really like, and I think the art and some of the stuff they're doing is actually pretty cool. There's a, potentially a game and some other stuff, but I think that goes back to the idea of like, what makes that really any different than the MechaVerse hype? Is it because MechaVerse maybe did they, were there all these bots and
But
shit?
listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. I mean, I just think this is all such bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just telling yourself these fucking stories. This is all bullshit. Like, let's just be absolutely clear. Everything that we're saying, it's all in our heads, right? These are just stories that we're telling ourselves. And so I just come back to the point of what I was saying earlier, which is this was round one of the NFT game, okay? We're in the late stages of that first cycle of round one. And in round one, there will be winners and there will be a lot of losers. And we've sort of proven out the concept. There's clearly a market. People have spent tens or hundreds of billions of dollars already on this stuff. And, most of it's going to get flushed out to sea. But there will be winners, just like from the last ICO boom, which was very much the same. You had Ethereum rose up out of that, right? You had Tezos. You had, I don't know, there's probably a good 5-10 great names that rose up out of that and actually went on to build something. And that's what you want to do. You want to find those who are the phoenixes that are going to rise up from the ashes of the sure to be dumpster fire that will be the NFT market when we come into a bear market. And I think that the only thing to be looking out for, there's different games here, right? So again, it comes down to what Alan said. Are you in this to make money? Are you trying to just quickly get on the grind and make a little something? Well, then maybe that minting strategy that Josh mentioned, that's for you. But if you're like, look, I'm a collector, I want to come in here, I want to be exposed to this, you need to be looking for things that are being done in ways that have never been done before. You need to be like, that's what this is about. This is an early stage of a new technology, and the winners are going to be the people that have a unique expression of that technology. As far as I'm concerned, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and obviously I'm biased, but Bored Ape Yacht Club set the standard, right? It's like from gamification, roadmap, execution, art, the whole thing. Like, they ticked all the boxes. And as far as I'm concerned, and most importantly, giving away all the IP. And I think that that's a critical element that most of these projects don't get. It's like, if you're not giving away the IP to the people that are buying this, then you don't understand this ecosystem. This is an open source ecosystem. That is what decentralization is all about. That is the ethos of this shit. And so if you're buying something that is somebody else's shiny picture because you think the art's cool, well, cool. I hope you're getting it for $300 to $500, like Shane said, and you can slap it up on your wall when the project goes to zero because you got your sentimental value out of that. And that's cool. But if you're in it because you're trying to collect something that's going to make a statement, that's going to be, a piece of the early stages of what will be a multi-$100 billion industry, potentially $1 trillion industry over the next decade, well, then you need to be buying things from projects that are unique and doing something that nobody else has done before. Creating a new PFP animal project that shares 70% or more of the traits from the BAYC, like, that's a loser's game.
But I get
And I'm not
cheese
saying
tokens.
I think one of the things that people talk about all the time is utility, right? But do I ever hear anyone talking about brand? Very rarely. And I think, like, we get this as domain investors more than most people in the NFT space. But everyone talks about utility, which is great. But actually, the biggest thing that's coming out of some of these projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club, why do I bet on Bored Ape Yacht Club? Not necessarily utility. For me, it's brand. If they can build a big brand, that's where the value comes for me.
The beautiful thing is they don't have to. That's the thing.
Right.
Exactly.
The
Boom.
community is.
That's the
community
fucking alpha.
is.
You want alpha? That's the alpha.
I'm doing it.
Sorry, no. Continue, Alan. I'm sorry.
Oh
to
no,
interrupt
no.
you,
You know what?
Literally.
I'm taking my wizard hat off.
but what you
Gandalf
said.
Gates, Gandalf
The
Gates with the
wizard.
truth. You know what I'm saying? And so, all right. So, Drew, do you want to buy my Dark Horizons bags then, please? Like, is that like?
But
is
it's
that
literally
enough?
it's literally what Alan just said. It's like they don't have to. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a project that has caught the network effect, and where the community has so much excitement around this project that the founders cease to be important. That's what you're looking for. I mean, that's literally the definition of success in this space.
That's what happened with Punks. That's 100% what's happened with
That's
Punks. That's why
yeah.
Lava Labs
I don't know.
doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, and I would say, look, I'd play devil's advocate just a little bit and say I don't think it's that the founders no longer need to be important. I mean, I think the Bored Ape Yacht Club and their founding group has done the best job out of everybody as far as the combination of staying out of the way, staying under the radar, but yet continuing to both establish and execute on a dope roadmap, right? So they have set the standard. So I don't think it's that they no longer need to be, they're no longer important, but I think that they understand, to let some of this just do what it do, because, to the broader point, which I agree with 1,000%, is that, it's the community and it's that's ultimately going to drive this brand. And, now what we're going to see in some of this next phase, what I believe into this phase two, as you kind of referred to, Drew, is that, we're about to get into more of the IP phase, you know what I mean? And that's some of the stuff that we're doing, obviously. Like, it's just, the idea, I mean, Shane's already done it, right? I mean, the Bee House, Colonel Whitenfur as the spokesperson, as the face of the honey, the white honey, is like a perfect example of that, because it was a perfect use of that IP that you basically got for hundreds of dollars when you first bought your ape. But, to a big company or even a startup or anyone else who's going to utilize the apes for various IP purposes, comics, animated series, music, movies, shows. I mean, Jenkins the Valet is signed to CAA. I mean, the Bored Ape Yacht Club folks themselves, signed to Guy, Siri. It's all coming together in a way that is the recognition and soon to be, the called the monetization or the use of this IP that's only going to then continue to drive the shit even further. I mean, it's like really,
we have a t-shirt company that we started. We're not designing t-shirts. We're just going across the NFTs and picking pieces and buying them and putting them on shirts, since we own that right. Like, just badass pieces. We got like 30 or 40 that make incredible t-shirts. It's like a free designer for $300 or $400.
You got any Tribes? Tribes has some pretty cool stuff. I like that.
I don't know what the Tribes are. I don't even know that.
That's been around for a little while. That's pretty cool. So,
I mean, there's some pieces you've never heard of. Like, it costs more in gas fee than it does for the pieces, but they display really well on t-shirts, and you don't have to sell but like 40 of them to pay for the whole thing. So
yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
A lot of business model. This is a business person's dream, this whole thing, and a marketing person's dream. It's just, I love it. It's my job to make these pay for themselves. That's how I look at it. Like, that ape is going to pay for itself when it's all said and done. Of course, I got in cheaper. If you pay $200,000, you got a lot of work to do. But I mean, for somebody that bought it early,
but they still have value for people at that price point, depending on what they're going to use it for. And as they continue to appreciate in value, and and there's only so many of them.
It just takes a lot more work to pay back $200,000.
Oh yeah,
Marketing than it does
$500.
Yeah. I mean, Colonel Whitenfur, it took in 5 figures in honey and presented itself with an opportunity past that. And some of it's the apes. I mean, some of it was him and that cool picture, and it still comes down to the art. Like, it could have, if I'd have just put the plain old ape face up there, I don't know that it would have been quite as exciting as to take somebody like Joe Ruiz, who made it a pretty good character. So he kind of took it to the next level. So there's just so much going on here. There's an opportunity for everybody. The only thing that I'll say is that gas takes out the opportunity at the low end to scalp and to have people come in and buy something at 0.03 it doubles up the price on. There'd be a lot of projects moving towards at the bottoms and moving higher if people could come in and change that price. But I can't come in and sweep the floor at 0.03 like I used to in July. It cost me $22 times 20. Well, now it costs me $122 each time I'm trying to buy that floor, and it just is it's not a trader's market in those low ends anymore.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. And that goes back to this issue with gas and this 1 ETH equals 1 ETH conversation and everything else. So, gas is prohibitive for sure. And, in different ways. And that's another example. But, the broader point, I think, of what Drew said or what Alan said, and then Drew echoed it and said, stop talking, Alan. He's going to make the point as if he made it, is that the, is that they don't have to.
He's a much better speaker than I am. Thank you, sir.
No, it's all good.
Alan contributes 90% of the conversation in less than 1% of the words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, man. That's how the old wizards work. You know what I'm saying? So it's part of his skill. So, all right, well, that's cool. So speaking of which, so let's talk. So what is, when we talk about current projects that we like, we're honing in on what we think has real value or things that we're excited about. What are some of those things for all y'all?
I got projects.
I was just gonna say, I'll just read Josh's tweets out.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly. I'll tell you something though, and you guys know I'm going to talk about it, but they didn't go down. They didn't go down during this bear week, right? They didn't.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the Kaiju King, son.
They didn't go down. They held strong.
No, they did. I love those things.
I didn't get
the
in.
activity bar was nice and straight.
So tell me, am I too late to get in? Am I too late?
No,
to get in?
they're still just like they're like 1 ETH above what they literally started trading at.
All right, but tell me what is a Kaiju King gonna be? What am I gonna do with a Kaiju King?
You stack them,
because
and
I
you
get
get
it.
A coin. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so
All
I
right,
think the simple way of
I agree
explaining
with
it.
Shane.
All right, let him talk.
If it's dope art for $500 and I can put it on my wall, that's cool. I can mess with that.
No,
But
so
if it's
my personal opinion is that from like an NFT enthusiast standpoint, it's a really great PFP. If you don't already have like a Punk or a Bored Ape, then I think that's definitely up there. But that's a matter of opinion. The other thing is that they basically copied a model of one of the most successful NFT projects that exists today, and nobody else has been able to execute it in that way, in my perspective, which is Cybercox. And they've copied that model in a way that they've actually built the entire infrastructure out before they took anyone's Ethereum, before mint. So the whole breeding ecosystem was fully functional on day one. So there's already breeding that's happening. The difference is between what they've done is the fact that there's more Genesis products. So there's 3,333 as opposed to 1,000. And there's a limit on how many babies that can be bred, which is 6,666. And then the main differential is the DAO. So the DAO that they've created that you'll be able to participate in is something that is evolving, and it's kind of like a that new wave of being able to dictate how projects go forward according to the community and according to the holders. And the point behind it all is, how do we excel Web 3.0? How do we move that needle forward? And I think that, in that respect, I think that there's a little bit of uniqueness around it with, a model that helps bring that all together. So my perspective is it's a pretty cool project. Now, it's anyone's guess as to where it goes. But from my perspective, I think that it's got all the ingredients of a really good project, and for me, it's a team that can execute. They've already shown that they can execute from day one. That's my perspective.
I think that sounds good. I'm in.
So I'm gonna push back. Just because that's who I am. What I hear is it's a CyberCon's Me Too, right? So it's like, all right, you lost me at that. It was like, all right, I'm not interested. Because I literally I set a bar really high. And so, it's like, all right, I go out and I buy.
Before you talk, but can you address this point? Because you're going to address the point. Can you address this point? Was Bored Ape Yacht Club a Punk's Me Too?
No, not even close. because so punks never really interested me. They only interested me now as a FOMO thing because it really is like a status symbol, right? But that's where it ends for me. Maybe other people see it differently. You know, it's truly clearly a proven success. It's the, you know, it's like the original, you know. So, but anything that's just going to purport to be just a cool PFP, that's a commodity product, because that there's an infinite landscape and you can only be the first once. And so that's been done. So in my mind, there's like a few categories, probably 4, maybe 5 categories of NFTs that we've seen so far. And so the only NFTs I'm interested in beyond that are things that create a new lane, right? And so it's like, all right, punks, they own the PFP, just pure PFP play, right? That's punks. Bored Apes own the utility and commercialization, right? They came out, they gave away the commercial rights. They're the first ones to do that ever. They were the first ones to ever create a roadmap. They were the first ones to ever create the, like, okay, we're going to introduce treasure hunts. We're going to create challenges. We're going to create, like, you know, this whole ecosystem in which the people that own apes can thrive through airdrops, through, you know, all of the different things that they've done, right? So they created a new lane that previously did not exist, which was the ability to take something that you've purchased with full commercial rights and commercialize it and utilize it in any way you see fit. Then the third interesting lane was Damien Hirst. Now, I wrote off the Damien Hirst at first look because I was like, all right, it's just a celebrity artist going to come in, it's a money grab, it's a bunch of, you know, dots on the canvas, which I think look amazing, but at what price? At $500, I'm in. I'll put that shit on my wall, right? But at, you know, 60 grand, I'm not sure. I think I'd rather go buy a real piece of art. And so, but then, you know, he made it super interesting because it was suddenly, oh, wait a minute, you can take an NFT and you can burn it and you can get a physical painting. Now we're talking, and that seems like a simple thing, but it's actually really interesting and it was unique at the time. And so it was like, all right, now we're gamifying this thing, because now what you've got is a token that represents a painting, and you got to make a decision. Do I want the physical token? Do I want the physical painting? Or do I want this NFT, which is a call option on the painting? And so the immediate reaction of most of the market is, oh shit, I want to burn that shit and get the painting. I want a Damien Hirst original, slap that shit on my wall. But you know what? I think that's actually the wrong move. Maybe it's the right move if you just truly appreciate Damien Hirst, you want to put that on the wall. But from a financial perspective, the right move is actually the NFT. Why? Because the NFT offers you optionality. And optionality always trumps any individual decision, because the option, you have the NFT, you can transfer that NFT anywhere in the world in microseconds. And, you know, you can't do that with the painting. The painting has storage costs, it subject to derogation, you know, where it can degradation. So, you know, subject to all kinds of things that things in the digital universe are not subject to, right? And so the optionality of that, the gamification of, you have a token, you can burn that token and get a physical painting, but that token's gone. And then that decreases the supply of the NFT. And so that was a really interesting new dynamic, a new lane that he created, right? So that's 3 lanes. Then you've got sort of the music lane, which I think is just being flushed out. I don't know if there's any real emergent, you know, winner there yet. Then you've got
he also had Tom's Rockets Factory, who came out with something
also, and
they gave you a physical thing. But not only that, they actually added these launch sessions where they brought the community together as well. And so there's all, that was another one.
So those Tom's Rocket Factory, how are they doing price wise right now? Any idea? Like, are they?
I think it's still like 10 ETH for fully rocket. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I mean, those were, you know, so if you got in early with those pieces and you put a rocket together, I mean, that would have been a pretty good investment, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. absolutely.
So, and I think that kind of speaks to exactly what Drew's talking about, which is, and I'm not downplaying. I like the Kaiju Kings. I didn't get in because I kind of missed that in the Discord when you guys were talking about them and stuff. And I think that for something like that, it's like they either can put a new spin on, CyberKongs in a way that makes sense and works for them because it's unique and they maybe do have some things, or they've improved it to the point that, and there's enough of a demand for that, right? Because I know obviously the Genesis CyberKongs with the bananas and all that stuff, like those went crazy. Now they've since cut in half value wise, but they got up as high as what, like 200 ETH for like the floor of the Genesis CyberKong?
220.
Yeah, it's 200.
Wow, it's crazy. So, I think there's no doubt there's obviously a demand for that type of project. I think there's no question there's a lot of people who feel like they missed out on things. I would agree with Drew. This is just trying to sort of summarize a couple of things that have been said here. That if it's too much of a Me Too, then you're really relying on, if they're not doing anything better. I'm not saying they are or they aren't. I don't know a lot, but I actually thought your breakdown of the Kaiju Kings was really solid, Josh. And I'm actually more interested. I'm more interested in them than I've ever been, So you did great. You did a great job, Josh. And,
thank you, man. I appreciate it. I tried.
Amazing.
And I also appreciated where Drew's coming from, because I mean, it's almost like, remember when Loot first took off, and then you had extension Loot, right? So everybody who missed out on Loot was like, yo, I'm gonna get this extension Loot. And then the Loot people did like a vote and said, nah, we're not even gonna recognize it, or we're not even gonna vote on it or something. And then extension Loot went from like people were paying 1 ETH, and then now you can't even give that shit away. Like it's actually worth more. I want to burn it, but it would cost too much in gas. It's like, I want to, that's what we should probably do, is try to create some kind of special burn place you can send shit that creates like a digital graveyard. So you can go the extra mile of burning something and being like, fuck you to something that you really hate so much that you want to like let people know that you burned it. And we'll just charge somebody like a little extra on top of gas to do it.
You switch out the NFT, you get an actual NFT of fire.
Exactly. Like, or do like it's like a gravestone that says, here lies some bullshit.
Yeah,
that I hated.
this used to be this piece of shit.
Exactly. But anyway, so no, but I think that where something can take the wheel and reinvent it in a unique way that provides value, I think will have really is interesting. If it's too much like something that it's sort of, you could say, oh, this is the new that. If there's not enough, then you're really hoping that there's enough demand and money and dollars that'll stay focused on it to make it cool.
Yeah, I think my argument to Drew is that, and the reason why I brought up Bored Apes compared to Punks is because Bored Apes was created as it's just like a new version of Punks. Apart from this time, it was apes.
No,
right?
but
yes, it was. That's how it was created.
No,
that's how it was created. Day one, it was a 10,000 PFP project. And it was based on successful projects in the past, like Punks. And then they built a roadmap after they sold out, and they built upon that.
But that may have been their intention. I don't know. I can't speak to that. And I wasn't there on day one. I didn't mint any of my apes, so I can't say. But what I can say is that it absolutely unequivocally, the reality was that it was never a Punks project because they gave away the full commercial rights. The entire reason why I got excited about BAYC in the beginning, I was shitting on all you guys getting into this whole thing in the early days. And it wasn't until I understood, I forgot who it was, but somebody explained to me that they gave away the full commercial IP rights.
And I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but that evolved. That evolved over the first couple months. It wasn't from day one.
It wasn't
day
from
one.
Day one.
It was in the terms of service. Day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they may have not
that
realized.
That makes an entirely different project. They definitely didn't realize what they were doing, but that made it an entirely different project. That is the reason I got excited about it versus anything else. Is I was like, wait a minute, so I own this. And then somebody else mentioned to me, they were like, yeah, think about it like owning a comic book character. And I was like, wait a minute, okay.
That was awesome.
So this is like me going to Stan Lee. This is like going to Stan Lee, and he's like, yo, I just created all these, characters. I'm going to call it the Marvel Universe. You want to buy one? And I'd be like, yeah, give me Spider-Man. I'll take that shit. Right. And so that's what Bored Ape Yacht Club is. It's literally buying a closed loop comic book character at, inception, and you get to create the story. And that's it. That's what you get. That's what you got. So it was a completely different project. Completely different.
I think we have JT's JT's first nickname, aka Jay Lee.
Okay. Do you know what? That's an interesting merge into like stuff that we've seen evolve from PFP projects. And I know that Alan, he's probably the guy who knows most about it. But that loot, the reason why loot is successful is because the people can create
Mhm.
based on whatever they want. Right?
Yeah, I
It's a
mean, and Luke
community-
captured
it's a
everybody. You know,
community
what
of
was so
things.
it shows you how creative and smart and the people are in this space too. Luke was an example of that, where it was like, everybody could immediately build on top of like, and I think it there's a bit of a lull there now because as some of these things are developing, but it's almost like immediately captured everybody's imagination because it was so, it was so basic, but at the same time, it kind of let people know some things that could be done with it. And then obviously you tapped into everybody's love of like Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of stuff. And, it just really just kind of took off in that way, which I think, speaks to how people want to create and, do this derivative stuff and, build on top of these things, and how that world building, that community building, that universe building is so important. And
that's the common denominator in everything, is community building. It's the
Mhm.
common denominator in every project, no matter which way you spin it.
Yeah.
I think we're going to look back at 2021 and there's going to be like 10 or 15 projects that really changed everything. I mean, there was the punks are a little historical, but you have the Apes, you have Tom's Rocket Factory, you have the other ones you mentioned, Andrew. You even have other sorts like BitCloud. As much as people hate on BitCloud, they changed the creator getting paid, and they forced Twitter to add one feature. I guess you can tip people. So there's all these elements that have changed what the future is going to look like in 2022.
Doesn't Shane own like 0.5% of Kim Kardashian or something?
No, hey, my coin was worth like $1,200 BitClout one time. I was rolling in BitClout money.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Alan. I didn't mean to divert you off there. Go ahead, keep going.
No. I guess my broader point is like everything's changing, and the punks can do just as well as the Kajori can have their own little audience as much as like the punks, and to some degree, like it really just depends. I mean, we're building so many different communities. I mean, people love Manchester, people love the other soccer team, which I don't know, but the other one,
the better one, Liverpool.
The problem in this whole thing, though, is
LFC.
the barrier to entry as it gets easier is going to make certain things. It can't all be sustained. It's absolutely impossible to sustain all these communities. So.
No, you're right, but I think a lot more.
Oh yeah, I mean there will, but it's just not sustainable. So it's either people are going to merge into one, or we're going to have a bunch of small communities at small prices, and they're just every tweet's going to be, look at the bubblegum kids, they're awesome. You're just going to have people that are diehards, but we all know that they're just not sustainable. And of the things we talked about, we'll look back next year and we'll, like Alan and you guys said, there's going to be 8 things that we talked about, whether they're legendary because of the fail or legendary because of the success. But it is going to come down to a dozen projects that are memorable, and the rest will be just small little things or non-existent.
Yep. And I think that's going to be driven by a couple of factors. Community is one, right? And that just means how much people are really like true buying in and fans and engaged and want to stay, but that is also going to be further driven by the founders, right? The founders who stay engaged and can kind of, they'll be able to either iterate or evolve or continue to drive utility and a reason for people to want to continue to just, be part of that community. And being part of the community is also just owning, buying, selling, like, that particular.
Yeah. Why does the
NFT.
next person want to come in? That's what I ask myself when I buy something, is why would somebody else come in now? I mean, what is the point? If it's to stack your toad and make some cash, maybe that will happen, but that's got to be sustainable income too, or however, but it's got to be something that causes them to come in. And am I a good judge of what that is? Not really, but I'm getting better every day as to what's truly
about asking the right questions, man. You ask the right questions, you eventually get to the right answers.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's it's a vibe. It's a vibe.
And I can't just and again, I put it in Twitter the other day. So I don't know that Spaceman guy, very famous artist, does the Spaceman, releases this thing. I look at his Twitter account and he follows five people. He's got 28,000 people and he follows 5. Come on. You want to join that community?
I read that tweet, Shane. Sorry. I absolutely loved it. It changed everything. Like I was going to look into the project, and as soon as I read that and looked at a few other things, I'm out. Dunn.
Oh, that's a money grab. He doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't even care about his friends. You know, like 5 people out of all those people that follow him, and he can only find 5 that he thinks are worthy of listening to. Come on.
Actually, those 5 people are on his team.
Yeah,
It wasn't
exactly.
even 5.
Seriously,
Yeah,
they're
so-
like literally his marketing people.
Yeah.
But I bought 2 of Boonji's. I hope I'm the only one on here that I can be like, yeah, they're 10 ETH, let's go.
No, and I'm sure you're gonna make money on it. I'm sure you're gonna make money on it. But you know, there's some questions you ask of why you're gonna get. And like I was big on doodles, and I think that they're cute and they're good, but I was kind of hoping for some differentiation in characters. Like I thought it would make a good comic book. It had legs, and the floor is holding at 1 ETH pretty strong. So it's and there's a lot of selling to go because there was 5,000 whitelisted things to get rid of. So it had to go through a big dump to get to the stable point. And I'm really surprised.
I just don't like the eye. I don't like the eye all the way on the outside. I just can't. It just doesn't do it.
But
for
at
me.
least you know it's a doodle, because if anybody can draw
Yeah,
that
that's
shit.
a unique thing. And I saw somebody took like their ape or their cool cat and they took the eye and put it over here. So you knew what they were referring to. You
So
know what I
like
mean?
super superlative, for instance, that
Yes,
is going to be something.
I'm into super superlative, but I really like the art. You don't think it's going to be something?
I do think. I think it's going to be amazing. I don't think we can differentiate what is rare and what's not.
That's the problem. I don't know how it makes it when you can't see what's good and what's bad.
Is that the hash masks kind of looking?
Yes, it's the blues and purples.
Yeah.
And I think
they
they're great.
They basically all look the same.
Yeah,
which is cool. I think that's what makes it cool. You kind of gravitate towards what you like. So if somebody else wants to buy yours, you know, they've got to figure out like what they want as far as what they're into.
I think we're at
I like them too, but I've just seen too many. I've seen too many of these projects where you can't differentiate between what's rare and what's not.
Well, it's like MechaVerse, man.
But look at the
MechaVerse.
number of unique holders. When you start getting into 7,000 out of 10,000 pieces, that means that there's not much left. If somebody wants out, then they're not going to get out.
It means if somebody wants in, then somebody's got to go out. It literally is like a turnstile effect. And then that creates a lot of like, opportunity for value. Yeah, exactly. Because it's scarcity, man. Digital
when you
scarcity.
have more people that want it, then you have people that are willing to sell it.
Then once that happens, you literally you bought a house in Scar City. Anybody have anything else they want to anything else they're really excited about going into the weekend as far as any kind of new projects or anything anybody has
just
their eye on?
Just the squares, man. Just the
squares are definitely where it's at.
I'm excited about.
And nothing against the merch drop of the Bored Apes and everything.
Yeah, the mutant drop.
Dude, you can go and make your own merch anytime. People get so excited with all this merch that drops. That's the beauty of this project, is you can make some badass stuff. I've made some t-shirts and hats that they're so great, and they're like $12. And not to say don't buy it, because I think people really get excited about it. But man, if you want to flex, just go print a damn shirt. You have so much opportunity.
We should cut this out because you still have your original BAYC.
Yeah, dude, that's like a big. That's like your retirement package.
So you're trying to sell that.
I'm rocking this. Like I personally really like the hundreds, just because this isn't.
Yeah, but see, and that's where I thought it lost out when 50,000 people on Twitter show their same sweatshirt. I think it's great. Yeah, no, I think all that's great. And I'm feeling some bad FOMO on that long sleeve t-shirt that I got in that box. I mean, I got a box cutter in front of it every day. So
like today's the day. Today's the day.
Yeah, but no, I get it. I'm just saying we own some great stuff. Play with it. I mean, Sticker Mule had a $10 t-shirt, and they direct to garment printed the apes, and I got Colonel Whitenfur and all my monkeys on a shirt for $10.
Well,
everybody asks me what it is.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll say. I mean, quality wise, this shirt's just okay. I got one of the OG with the yellow Bored Ape, and like quality of the shirt's really nice. Has like a pretty cool tag at the bottom, and it has the custom tag here too. So
kind of European.
Shout out to that. Yeah, but still, fits good. Makes
The folks that do the merch for BAYC though, they're legit. Like they're the ones doing it for like Hollywood studios.
Yeah.
They're the ones doing it for like all the big bands that go on tour.
No, I think it's all good.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I looked a little sidetracked for the last 10 minutes because I was literally on the site buying some merch. I missed out on the skateboard, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm FOMOing like a mofo.
I thought you couldn't. I thought none of that shit could sell out. Like I thought I can get a sweatshirt anytime. I thought it was open.
Everything except the skateboard. There was only 1,000 skateboards, and that shit sold out like this.
I know. I tried to get the hundreds rug.
You just want the board?
Well, there's that group. There's the one dude who does the skateboards. I forget. If I had his Twitter handle, I'd tell you.
I can make Joe Ruiz could do you the baddest ass skateboard you ever seen. Like,
but hey, real quick. So
okay, I know
we're running out of time, but I did like the way kind of Drew was putting the pressure cooker on Kaiju Kings. It's almost like our version of Shark Tank, or I guess you'd call it like the rabbit cage or the rabbit hutch. Right? What do you put rabbits?
You can't put pressure on the Kings, baby.
I know, right? Pressure, pressure makes diamonds. But so I guess this, like, here's where I'm at as far as like sharing a little bit of pseudo alpha. I mean, I think Josh that was a really good comment earlier about, if you're kind of coming in early and you don't have a big bankroll, that's one way if you've got time to really try to pound those discords and, get in early on a couple of these. But because that takes time and effort. The other thing, though, I think is because the floors have dropped so much on a lot of these projects, I think that that's where the opportunity for me, I'm less excited about new projects at the moment than I am about there are projects now that, become more in reach than they've been in a minute. So if you don't have a Cool Cat, if you don't have, I think World of Women, I think Creatures are still, even Toads have come down a bunch. So to me, it's like, I kind of have a top 10 of the stuff that I've got that I like. And there's some other things that I've got more like flyers on. I like Wanderers, which I think is really cool. It's like, I think, but I love what's happening with the bio pills. Has anybody else got bio pills and the bio mint passes and stuff?
I guarantee Alan does.
No,
that's what I was gonna say. I thought Alan would, but no.
No, that's one I passed.
Dude, huge shout out. When I bought those, Drew thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, but there's something about these pills. It's just, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is like the dumbest shit ever. I'm like, no, look, it's like a little video. You can see it turns almost like a 3D, and it's like, he's like, you'll get hype about anything. I'm like, well, yeah, but so. And then I didn't sell them because I couldn't, they wouldn't, not because I was like, oh my God, I got to hold on to this shit. I was like, nobody's going to buy these. So they just sat in my wallet. But then they went and reinvented themselves to turn these bio pills into these fucking dope ass apostle characters. And they've been dropping these like teaser videos and previews that are fucking sick. So big shout out to the bio pills, man. I can't wait to see what the apostles and what they do with them. But that is one where I think you talk about projects and how that's one that they could have rugged, right? They could have been like, all right, we sold those things. The original intent was, there's a sort of a VR element. If you use the pill in conjunction with a VR rig, it gives you like an experience, right? Almost like you took the pill, so now you're seeing shit or whatever. And that itself was kind of neat and interesting and sort of new at the time. It was novel. I was like, yo, this is some new shit. I'm going to fuck with this. And then, it just kind of, I don't think I didn't pay a lot of attention. I'm not in a lot of the discords. But it just seemed to kind of sit. But then they went and took these things and then turned them into these, this storyline with these characters and this like dark Bane kind of shit, like creating these characters that are really badass. And again, like their trailer is crazy and it's so well done. So it's like they're taking time, effort to build some new shit and provide new value for their, call it the investors, customers, clients, whatever we are at the end of the day, the collectors. And, big shout out. I mean, even if it doesn't blow up over time, it was still just such a cool effort on their part to not let it go, but to try to reinvent it in a way that's really neat. So anyway, I think that ties into some of what we talked about earlier. So I just want to make that point. And I think with that, I think it's it, man. So thank you to my squad co-hosts. Y'all know what it is, man. As always, appreciate y'all spending time with us here. And thank you to the audience. As I say in every show, without you, there is no us. So hit us up. We're on Twitter. Hit us up on the comments, DomainSherpa. Also, we're going to talk about making the Rabbit Hole Discord public, or at least more public than it's been. It's been a bit of a closed community, but we're looking to open that up soon here. So I might even mention that in the front end when I do my intro, just so folks know that, as they want to get involved and kind of chat with us and bullshit with us, like that's what we do, so let's do that and, make some of that happen. And yeah. And in the meantime, appreciate y'all taking the time out to listen to us. Hit us up. We will otherwise be back here soon on DomainSherpa. All roads lead to domains. Down the rabbit hole with the Rabbit Hole Gang. Gang. What it do? See y'all next time. Peace.
It don't matter what you do.